Hello and welcome to Exploring Jeeps. Today what we're doing is we're creating or building ramps for our Jeep so that we can elevate the Jeep, and then also they can be used to be a quick support when you're doing things like tire rotations and things like that. Here, you definitely need to line them up, and you want to use them in pairs so that the Jeep stays nice and straight as it's going up the ramps. If you can have somebody who's helping you, that definitely is a good idea. Here's what I do when I'm changing a tire. Let's say I'm doing tire rotations or something like that. I'll put this underneath the differential or the axle, and then I use a jack or floor jack to just lift the tire up, an inch or two off the ground. If the car jack were to fail, it would just go down an inch or two. Some of the tools you can see here: a drill, handsaw, basic measuring tools, and it's 2x10 lumber. Now, I use Douglas fir. It has a pretty good compressive strength, definitely enough for a Jeep. And then I used bolts to just kind of hold everything together and make sure that things didn't shift when the Jeep was on top of them. I have them recessed so that they they don't scratch the floor. They don't create a pressure point that could crack or shift or anything like that. I wanted them to just be as solid as possible. So what I'm doing here is I'm just using this spade bit, and I'm drilling down to get through this material, and I can get a little bit more than halfway. So once I'm through the 3 layers, you can go ahead and drill through the other 3 layers. Just keep everything lined up and clamp down. You can see it makes marks on the bottom layers that allow you to just continue with what you're doing. I have a level on this drill, so I'm able to say that I'm going vertically. I do have a drill press, a small drill press, but for things like this, it doesn't have to be that accurate. Whether or not they're directly vertical doesn't make a difference. So it clamps things down, makes it much easier and much safer. And then I'm using a 2-inch hole saw that you would just use with a door. Drilling down about 3/4 of the way through the board, and then I come back with the spade bit, and it just is very quick at removing the material inside that hole. And I get it down to about the level that I want, which again is about 3/4 of the way through the boards. I couldn't find an 8.5-inch long bolt, so I had to recess these a little bit more than I would have liked, but it worked out fine. It just drilled down a little bit deeper. If you had smaller bolts, I used 1/2-inch bolts. If you used like a 1/4-20 bolt, you probably could have gotten away with just using a little bit larger spade bit, which are relatively inexpensive. The hole saws, you end up back at this, state where you have to remove the material by hand. So always use 2. It keeps the Jeep level, and if you can, use 4 low. It gives you much more control, and it just doesn't want it to roll back on you like it does when you're in 4-wheel high or even 2-wheel drive. And then always use like a spotter if you can. Otherwise, do it in check it. You don't want to roll off the end of this. It'd be not a fun day. I just have a little mark in the center so I can see. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you never want to just use one. It has a tendency to want to turn on you. And that's all there really is to it. You can make them the height you want, and it was a great project. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, and I'll try to answer whatever I can. Thanks again.